Good afternoon and welcome to VMT News. My name is Jose Teran and today we'll be covering some stories that have popped up recently. Let's start with our first story. The House has voted to approve the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2022. With wide bipartisan support, the bill, which sets the guideline for defense policy, authorizes spending in line with the Pentagon's priorities, though it does not appropriate the spending itself. The vote was 316 to 113. The Senate will need to pass its own version of the bill, and then the two chambers will iron out the differences in the coming months at a conference committee. The conservative House Freedom Caucus railed against the legislation earlier this week, claiming it provided a blank check to the Biden administration in the wake of the chaotic Afghanistan withdrawal. The caucus also urged the GOP members to vote against the defense authorization in a statement saying that this administration's political posturing puts priorities like funding critical race theory for our service members and forcing our daughters to sign up for the draft ahead of maturing our military has the resources to put the safety and security of America first. Next up, a 96-year-old German woman who fled on Thursday before standing trial on charges of aiding and abetting murder in Nazi concentration camps has been found by local authorities and will be brought before the court. The woman has been located by the police. Frederick Milhofer, spokesperson at the court in Itzehoe, told CNN by phone, adding that local authorities are now assessing whether she is able to serve a prison sentence. The trial of the former secretary, named by Reuters as Ingar Fergner, was set to start on Thursday. The woman is suspected of having aided and abetted 11,387 cases of murder, according to a court indictment. The defendant was a stenographer and a typist in the commandant's office in the near concentration camp in Stutthof, near what is now the Polish city of Gdansk. She is alleged to have assisted those in charge of the camp in the systematic killing of prisoners between June 1943 and April 1945, as the indictment reads. Following up with this next story, detectives have started interviewing 18-year-old Timothy George Skimpkins, who will now be charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Assistant Police Chief Kelvin Colby said. An Arlington Police Department news release said Simpkins turned himself in without incident, and his bond was set at $75,000. The shooting at Timber Highview School left 4 people injured. Among the 4, 2 were shot and 3 were hospitalized. All 3 hospitalized are expected to survive, Colby said. One of the victims is a 15-year-old boy with gunshot wounds who is listed in critical condition, according to the release. A 25-year-old man had also had gunshot wounds, but is in good condition, the release said. A teenage girl who may have been grazed by a bullet was released Wednesday night, but is also in good condition, with an abrasion, said Arlington Police spokesman Tim Siesko. Officials said about 1,700 students were at the school and have all left the building. No migrants are left at a Texas border encampment about a week after nearly 15,000 people, most of them Haitians, huddled in makeshift shelters hoping a chance to seek asylum. Some will get that chance, while the others will be expelled to their homeland. The Department of Homeland Security planned to continue flights to Haiti throughout the weekend, ignoring criticism from Democratic lawmakers and human rights groups who say Haitian migrants are being sent back to a troubled country that some left more than a decade ago. Meanwhile, Bruno Lozano, the mayor of Del Rio, Texas, where the camp was located, said officials would search the brush along the Rio Grande to ensure nobody was hiding and finish cleaning the site before reopening the international bridge. Officials also want to be part that no other large groups of migrants are making their way to Del Rio area who might decide to set up a similar camp, he said. Lozano said there were no deaths during the time of the camp was occupied, and that 10 babies were born to migrant mothers at the camp or in Del Rio's hospital. It took an urban village at this scale to help prevent any loss of life and actually welcome the births of children here, said Lozano, who called the relocation of all migrants phenomenal. It was a historical moment as LISD swore in its new female police chief. Claps and cheers filled the LISD boardroom on Tuesday morning when Doreen Hale was sworn into her position, making her the first LISD woman police chief for the district. Chief Hale says she is very proud to come from a police family. Doreen says, "My dad served 50 years in law enforcement, and so I grew up around law enforcement around my household. I also have a husband who is in law enforcement and a bunch of uncles and cousins who are in law enforcement. I am very proud to be the first female to be the chief police here in Laredo, Texas," Hale says. "It has been always hard for women, but she has always tried her best in her career to climb the ladder." Hale will now be in charge of over 100 people, including campus police, security officers, and other campus law enforcement. In addition to the LISD administration and law enforcement, her family was also there to witness her significant achievement. Her father, O.J. Hale, says after decades of working in the law enforcement industry, there are now more females in the field, and he is very proud of his daughter. He will now be heading in for a small break, so stay tuned. Introducing the new aerodynamic flying toy car. This brand new car can soar high into the air and can even fly. It can even be thrown by hand. Perfect landing. With its new structure and aerodynamic physique, it acts just like a paper airplane. It goes faster than any other car as well, meaning you'll for sure win every race. The new flying toy car, available right now. Back from our short break, here's the weather. Today we'll have sunny skies with a high of 95 degrees and a low of 68 degrees. There will also be a 0% chance of rain with a bit of breeze northeast, so enjoy the sunny day. For our 3-day forecast, we have some high temperatures from 97 degrees to 100 degrees with some cloudy skies throughout these 3 days, with some considerable chances of rain, especially on Wednesday. Winds also coming in at around 16 to 19 miles per hour on Tuesday and Wednesday until dropping down to 9 on Thursday. So prepare some rainy days. And now for another short break.
Hi everyone, Al Roker here. As a guy with his own catchphrase, I appreciate that Smokey's only said,
"Only you can prevent wildfires."
but I'm filling in because there's a lot more to report. Like when there are parched or windy conditions out there, you gotta be extra careful with things like burning yard waste. After all, wildfires can start anywhere, even in your neck of the woods. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Thank you for staying with us with these few short breaks. Heading back into the news, an 11-year-old chess prodigy. When Tanito Lua Tani Adewumi molds his next move on a chessboard, his instinct is to pile pressure on his opponent. "I'm aggressive. I like to attack," he says CNN Sport of his playing style. "It's just the way I think in general. I want to checkmate my opponent as fast as I can." Tani, who turned 11 in September, is taking the same approach with his chess career. Having become a national master earlier this year, the 28th youngest person to achieve that title, he is now wanting to become the game's youngest ever grandmaster. His success in chess has so far yielded a growing collection of trophies, the most treasured of which is the title he won at the New York State Chess Championship in 2019. Not necessarily because of the way he played, but because it changed his family's life forever. They lived in a homeless shelter in Manhattan after moving to the United States, and shortly after, Tani joined the chess club at the school on the agreement that the registration fee could be waived. When word spread of Tani's state championship title, an outpouring of financial support for his family followed. His father says he has a philosophy that when you lose, you try again, to work out what made you lose and encourage yourself to get better. That philosophy has reaped rewards so far, and it might yet help Tani Adewumi achieve the status of chess grandmaster. In our last story, but certainly not least, a Florida man who was fed up with the poor condition of his road near his Southwest Florida business had recently planted a banana tree in a pothole to fix it and warned the commuters. Brian Raymond last week planted a tree in a pothole along Honda Drive just off the US 41 in South Fort Myers, Raymond. The owner of Progress and Pride Fitness Group said that he had filled the potholes in the street with cement multiple times, but it would just crack again. That's when he had the idea of planting a banana tree. Raymond told television station WBBH that the banana tree for him is like an attention-grabbing repair. If we got to maintain it and make sure nobody gets hurt, we are going to put something obvious there to make sure nobody gets hurt by driving in the hole. He had observed the situation for some time from his security cameras that recorded the complications along the street. In the visuals, the pothole was causing damage to several cars while floodwaters had his trash bins float. People who have stores along the road said anything would be better than potholes. Scott Shine, who works at a nearby business, said, "I love it. I think it's hilarious. We should have more of these in place of potholes, and I do think it is sending a message to everyone." Charlie Lopez, who lives in nearby Cape Coral, said that he has seen so many cars drive unknowingly into the pothole, which is a real concern. For some commuters, the banana tree brings disbelief. John Hooker, while speaking with Wink TV, said, "I pulled up and I questioned myself. Is that really a tree in the middle of the road?" We hope that you enjoyed this new coverage and hope that you stick with us for more. This is VMT News. Have a great day.